background, Tom. Morning.
I like yours too, Jonathan.
This is
morning, John.
yeah,
Yes.
morning, Zal. A picture we took from the peak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so down into the main part of Hong Kong in the harbour.
Right. Mm. Nice.
Back.
Where?
Here.
Yeah, I already did that.
You see.
Morning, Roti. You're a little bit hazy this morning, Roti. Is there some mist on the lens? Can't hear you.
Hi, Pina.
Okay. Can't hear you, Roti.
Yeah, I wonder what's making it hazy.
Yeah. Be a bit of moisture thing in the somewhere.
Yeah.
Would that be right, Tom?
I'm
Can't hear.
cleaning.
Moisture
yeah.
or dirt? Yeah, good
No, it
old
was
dirt.
not moisture.
Please, Heather.
Mhm.
Good old dirt. Hi, Azita. We don't see you, but you must be there.
My dirty computer.
No problem. A little better now, actually.
It
I'm
must
gonna
be on the
clean
lens of the
it.
camera.
Oh, there's
Ah,
Roti in his full glory now.
how are you feeling now, Roti?
I'm feeling still a bit tired. Yeah. Because I got vaccinated like 10 days ago
Oh, I see.
and I got the fatigue back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like some of the symptoms I got with the COVID.
Yeah.
Have the other symptoms gone? Are you just left with fatigue?
It's only fatigue, yeah.
Okay, no, that's good.
But
Did you
today
lose your taste and smell?
No, I never lost taste and smell. I mean, when I had COVID in January, I basically was just fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And I got vaccinated and I got it back again.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's not what you expect, is it?
No.
Hi, Pina. Have you been vaccinated too?
Yes, I have, and I had no reactions.
Good.
And you've had two, haven't you?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I finished both.
Mm.
You too, John, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, we both had it.
I need to go this.
Sarah's running a bit late this morning, so we don't need to wait for her.
Yeah. See you later.
Where are you now, Jonathan? Are you still in Hong Kong?
Still in Hong Kong, Pina, yes. We'll be here for another month or so.
Really? Wow.
Very good.
It's hard to get to Australia at this point. Is that right?
We've actually been classed as the hermit nation because we don't allow anybody in.
Oh, I see.
Pretty well. So yeah, commonly call us the hermit nation. Yeah, there's a few issues, but they've been really strict. I'm surprised you have to wait so long, Jonathan.
Well, I think we're entitled to enter any time because being Australian citizens, there's no issue as far as that's concerned.
You have to quarantine or anything?
Yes, we'll have to quarantine for 2 weeks in a hotel that we're assigned. No choice.
Oh goodness.
Mm.
And are there flights going in?
There are flights, limited flights, obviously.
Is that what's causing the difficulty for you guys, the limited flights?
Not particularly, no.
No? Hello, Tom.
Morning, Thamma.
Are we waiting for Achan?
I'm here now สวัสดีค่ะทุกคน
Sawadika.
สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
ครับอาจารย์ครับ
Savadika.
Sawadika.
สวัสดีค่ะทุกคน
I have a question, and is that okay to go straight ahead?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, my question is about the different terminology we have for panya. For example, pariyatti, pativeda, and then you've got sutamaya panya, jintamaya panya. Then there's the parinyas. Achan, why do we have so many different words for panya, please?
Yes, are there many degrees and level of panya? Now we are
Yes, there must be many different degrees.
yes, for example, now there is seeing, and we are talking about seeing. How much understanding of seeing right now? Can it develop more to really understand the truth of it? The arising and falling away, and only one at that very moment, so clear, different from the moment now, everything appears together. No understanding of what are there as are different from moment to moment and gone. This is the beginning of understanding reality right now. How much understanding is there? It's not like when there is more precise and clear understanding of that which is now appearing yet. So can we use just one word? But depend on understanding. No matter what word is used, it depends on understanding of that word. For example, we don't have to use any word at all, but there can be the understanding of the different levels of panya, of right understanding. Can we use just one word? A reality which understands that which is now appearing as it is, from hearing, but not precise, not clear enough, because there are so many things together. How can there be the understanding of only one reality as it is, as it's not the others at all, at this very moment? That's why there must be pariyatti and patipatti and pativeda, different levels too. For example, at level of pariyatti, the first day, the second day, and after that, different understanding accumulating little by little. From not understanding at all, what is there? What is the word Dhamma we heard? Where is it? And when there's the understanding of the truth that what is there is so true and it can be known as it is, but without the words of the enlightened one, how can there be the understanding of that which appears as it's conditioned? No one can make it arise just right now. No one can do anything at all because actually there are only different realities, no one at all. But when they arise succeedingly and appears as a nimitta, something there, the I see, the I think, the I know is there. That's why without the words of the enlightened one, the Buddha, it's impossible to understand what is there now. There's feeling for sure. There is that which experiences, and there is Sanya, remember what is there, instantly unknown and fall away. This is a level of panya which begin to think over it, to understand the way it is. It's not just believe what is heard, but it's the word for considering the truth with them. Is it right as it heard? For example, seeing now. See, when we talk about seeing, we don't think of other thing now. And it can be a moment of understanding the seeing, only seeing right now. No thought about anything. Talking about seeing, and seeing is there now. And begin to understand that that is there by its arising. If it does not arise, how can it appear as is there? Sees that which is seen. Very common life, very daily life, but no one knows the truth of that which is now going on from moment to moment. That's why different levels of panya, even pariyatti. And for patipatti, when panya develops, the moment of understanding that which has heard so much, it can condition moment of understanding it directly, little by little, and there sati is, but no one knows. We don't have to use the word sati, but it's different from moment when we just talk about seeing, but no understanding with direct understanding of that, because sati is not conditioned to arise yet, not enough condition for even such moment of beginning to understanding, only that which is there by conditions, all by conditions. The understanding of no self, no thing, only that now conditioned to arise and fall away has to be implanted. No one, otherwise we study anything with the idea of self all the time, forgetting about no me, no one. Only that which is conditioned, arising and falling, appears all the time, unknown, because it succeeds one another so very, very rapidly, unbelievable. So what is now appearing cannot be just that which has arisen and fallen away instantly yet, because there must be the understanding of that which is now appearing as is not as it is, the whole picture or a thing there. Because actually, the difference between seeing and hearing cannot be mixed up. Different conditions, different experiences. So no one beginning to understand the truth, which is quite so far to realize the truth, because it's covered up with no words to make it known as that which is now, only that is conditioned to arise. So we can understand the different level of panya, that which begin to listen carefully, directly, that is all about now, so close here, but the arise and fall away, unknown, but the idea keeps on thinking that it's still there, as me, my body, my thing, see, everything. So all are ignorance because not understanding the truth of life or the truth of a moment which is now appearing. And it's no me, no I, no anyone at all. It's only that which understands, arising and falling away, as well as other realities. Before the understanding, the Sappha Prinya after Vipassana Jnana can apply any moment by conditions to just understand and show the characteristic, show up the characteristic of no me, no self, no one, only by conditions. Many people wish to have such moment, impossible without right conditions, proper conditions for such proper time for only that object which hasn't arisen yet now. And this is life, very natural.
So is pariyatti the same as Suttamaya Panya? Is it similar, or what is it? Why the difference? What is the difference? Ajahn, are you still there?
Ajahn, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I forgot again because someone's coming. See? Okay, please, your question again. Right?
It's regarding pariyatti and Suttamaya Panya. Are they the same? What is the difference between the two?
That's why we have to carefully study each word. For example, what is sutta? Hearing, right? Maya, the benefit of hearing is understanding. Otherwise, it's useless just to hear without considering whether it's true and what it's about. For example, now, we are talking about seeing right now. And sutta, heard the word, maya, understand. The success, the result, the benefit of hearing is to understand. When it is heard, no understanding, it cannot be sutta maya panya. But the maya is the way it works to have understanding of the word it is about whatever is now appearing. See, sutta maya panya doesn't mean that let's hear again and again, but no considering, no understanding. That's useless. But sutta, hearing, and it brings about the understanding so clear about that word, little by little. So it's right understanding which arises from hearing. When there is hearing, but there's no right understanding, it cannot be sutta maya panya. It can be only sutta. It cannot be maya. Result, the benefit, the success of listening is understand that which now heard as it is. For example, seeing, only one word, seeing, see, and sutta, heard that about what is there. Before that, seeing cannot be known, no hearing about the truth of it. But when there is the word talk saying about it, how many moments, we don't know, many times, it can bring about the understanding of only seeing as it is, as no one there at all. And it's not yet direct understanding of seeing, but it is the moment of hearing again and again until the confidence of the truth of the word, which talk about seeing, can be successful. Panya is there. Knowing this so true that no one can change it, but who can understand it depends on many, many conditions. Without attention, not seeing the benefit, one might not be interested in hearing it at all. But someone heard the word and there are conditions to be interested, to understand that chanda, a reality is there. See, so each word would have thought about what are there now, not only one, but many, many things. But in order to understand the reality that which is now appearing clearly, it has to be just one word at a time. And when that is succeeded, success is successful. So it is the skillful in listening and understanding the truth, not just the word, not just how many words about that, but the truth of that now as it is the Sappha Parinya, of that level of hearing. Satyana, I mean, not Sappha Parinya. To understand the truth, the Four Noble Truths. Satyana, from hearing, considering directly. Because the reality is so very subtle. If there is no hearing enough, we take it just very easy to concentrate on it, to understand it, to develop by one's own. That's not the way at all. Because the truth is very, very difficult or so hard to understand because it's covered up by ignorance from eons and eons and eons ago. Even right now, the words of the truth from the Buddha begins to just turn it up to see what is there, which is covered up from eons and eons ago, just to talk about that which is now there, where no one talk about it at all, not understanding the truth of it. So how can there be any word about it when there's no understanding? But when Buddha had enlightened, he taught and showed the truth. So anyone who heard about this can begin to understand the truth little by little. And it's not known as it is just one at a time yet. That's why it is the intellectual understanding about seeing right now. Sutta, Maya, Panya. But if one listen, no, not enough careful considering, how can that be Panya more about each word as it is, as no self at all, implanted little by little there. The seed is there to grow up when there's more conditions. Fertilizer, hearing again, not hearing, thinking over it as well. So when Panya, right understanding is there, it can understand what other things is, little by little. The same, seeing today, seeing yesterday, seeing tomorrow, seeing next life. Exactly that quality which arises, the nature that it just arises to see. So how can it be anyone? This is a way to develop the path leading to enlighten the truth of this moment as it is. That's why it's so very, very subtle, very, very profound. No one can think about it. Our dhammas are there unknown, are working. The functions, different ones. Chitta is not Chitta and so on. So much now to learn to understand it as no one at all. Otherwise, the idea of I is there. But seeing now, just talk about seeing. It's gone, unknown. And what continue, unknown, succeeding so very, very rapidly. No gap in between. That's why they all appear as different sign or nimitta, shape and form. Just like now, covered until Sutta Maya Panya is more and more confident, to be confident of the truth.
Achan, that's wonderful. I don't think I've ever heard that before about the listening. Sutta being the Sutta Maya Panya being the listening. So that is that's wonderful. Thank you. So my next question would be, what is Chintamaya Panya? I think Achan's gone.
We can't hear you again, Ajahn.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Again, please, your question.
My next question would be, what is Chintamaya Panya?
Okay. When it's not moment of hearing, there can be moment of thinking. And usually there is thinking about other things, not of that which is now appearing at all in the day. See, when moment of hearing has gone, and then the thing is conditioned, thinking about other things instantly, even while one is hearing either. See? And so even when there's enough understanding of intellect, understanding about seeing right now, seeing right now, it conditioned the moment of understanding or considering seeing. But when we don't use the word seeing, what about thinking? Think about other things instantly. So when the understanding of the truth at level of intellectual understanding is enough, it can condition moment of thinking about that which has heard by conditions. No one can try and then think about it, but it's there by conditions to think about other things. So many, many moments in a day, no moment of thinking about that which is heard as it is not heard right now. That's why when there are conditions enough, there can be less thinking about other things, but thinking of that which is heard. And it can condition moment of picking up the book on Dhamma and read it carefully and understanding it, and then conditions for other thought again, all the time by conditions. That's why it takes quite a long, long time to understand it's not in anyone's control at all. By conditions only, to have more understanding about anatta, uncontrollable. Even the idea of uncontrollable can bring about a little more understanding of no me. That's why each moment is conditioned by so many conditions, and the condition of hearing of truth is one, which is conditioned now to see the value of listening, of understanding the truth. Otherwise, it's just like the blind person or living in a dream world all the time, because we think that this is so true, I'm here, but actually, without the realities, without seeing, hearing, thinking, hardness, and softness, how can there be the I? Thinking of that ignorance that it's I who see when there is seeing, because of not understanding seeing as it is, not understanding anything at all. That's why how long it will take from intellectual understanding to higher understanding, little by little again at each different levels.
Again, that's wonderful, Ajahn. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Appreciate everyone's understanding so much in this life.
Now, I know there's a third Mayapanya, but I can't remember what the first word is.
Bhavana.
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 Okay, so Ajahn, Bhavana Mayapanya, what is that?
What is bhavana?
Bhavana is, well, I think it's mental development, like development.
Development of what?
Well, it would be the development of panya, to know more and more what is real and what is not real.
Right understanding. It's a reality, different from wrong understanding. So we learn about anything there, but usually we use the word with ignorance, not understanding it as it is. But when there is that, nothing is there, only conditioned reality arising and falling away, never to return at all. And this is the bhavana, beginning to develop right understanding. So actually, Bhavana is the development of understanding from intellectual understanding to the direct understanding and to realizing the truth, Pativeda. Otherwise, without the intellectual understanding, how can there be direct understanding of that now which is appearing? For example, hardness, no understanding at all, it's gone. Just hard and then gone, no understanding. But when there's enough understanding to condition moment of understanding, that when it's there, that when it's there, hardness is there, and there is understanding there. See, this is the development stage by stage from Suttamaya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, which condition Bhavana Panya, direct awareness. But it begins from intellectual understanding. And understand that that is not the precise understanding of understanding just only that which appears, for example, seeing. Not understanding seeing now yet as the moment when it shows up as it is, realizing the truth, penetrate the truth of it. So bhavana is the development of right understanding of the truth of reality right now, without hearing Suttamaya Panya, intellectual understanding. There's no conditions for such moment in samsara, not just only in this life. Any life without Panya. To understand the different world, because this is the world of nimitta, and that is the world of realities. They are there. See, ignorance conditioned the world of nimitta, and panya conditioned the world of truth. Of that which just one reality different from the other, each one arises by conditions and then gone, never to return. No matter we call it birth or death, exactly the same.
Again, that's wonderful, Ajahn. Thank you very much. Very, very helpful.
And that's the way to understand life in very normal way. See, as it is, no one can make anything arise at all. No matter panya or ignorance, attachment, aversion, whatever. And this is the benefit of hearing the truth. And panya begins to develop right understanding. And little by little, attachment can be known. To go the wrong path without attachment and ignorance, it's impossible to go wrong. But when there is still ignorance and attachment, no one can stop the wrong path. That's why even to have right understanding of each moment is so valuable, because without it, there's no way, no condition to understand what is now appearing, as it's not there anymore from moment to moment by conditions. As long as our condition, seeing cease. When there's no condition, seeing cannot arise. No seeing, no me who sees, no matter when. And this is the studying of Dhamma, see. It's not the word, but without the word of the enlightenment, no one can have such understanding of that which is now appearing. No wise word, true word, which explains it as it is.
you spoke a moment ago, Atan, about thinking. We listen to the Dhamma, and there is thinking about what is heard. And sometimes, you know, when there is a bit of thinking about the Dhamma in any situation in my day, something might come up. And I sometimes wonder, you know, I want to hold that thought and keep thinking about the Dhamma. And then I think, well, no, that's trying to control, well, I don't know. It feels like I'm trying to control and hold the Dhamma. So I often will just let that thought go. But then there's not me to let it go. It's gone already. So today, sorry, Achan, go on.
Okay, go on.
I finished.
Because you can begin, Panya can begin to understand that the idea of self is any time until there can be the understanding of that which is now appearing, even from just thinking about that which is heard. But the eyes to the five khandas, the feeling, Vedana and Sanya and Sankhara khanda, and even Chitta at that moment, all there are I from life to life. That's why Panya begins to see moment of attachment and moment of understanding, little by little, as not self, and understanding that it's wrong to try to control, because one might think that, oh, I control it, but no understanding of the truth. So Lopa is that I can.
Yes, that is true. Lopa arises a lot in the day, but probably mostly more it's ignorance of what realities really are.
Yes, and that which has to be eradicated before other thing is Lopa with wrong understanding of self.
Because when there's the idea of I can do anything that will make the conditions for development of Panya better, then there's an element of wrong view in that, different from, I think, to me, just when there's an idea of head or arm, even if it's my head or my arm, there's no sense there of any kind of degree of control, for example, which seems to imply an element of self. So when we have ideas about things that can be done in order to develop kusala or understanding in particular, then that is what I think of as classic instance of wrong view, rather than just the ideas that we have in the day of this and that person or object.
Yes, so it's becoming clearer that there is no control. I mean, things arise and fall away very quickly. I've heard that again and again. It's not actually seen, but it certainly it kind of manifests itself in that, you know, yeah, there's forever something happening. It's still a bit vague, but today that Achan talking today has really cleared up a lot for me. So Achan, thank you again and again.
And I think the notion of rise and fall is also consistent with the fact that things change over time. So if they were constant, then there wouldn't be any change. But for change, rise and fall is just part of the picture, necessary. But you're right that the rise and fall hasn't been seen, so it's somewhat a matter of conjecture for us.
And whatever kind of thinking it is, whether it's moments of wise reflection or whether it's moments of wrong reflection, when it's, I want to hold on to that, or I want to understand that better, but it's just different kinds of thinking, each moment conditioned and anatta, not mine. Otherwise there can then be the, I shouldn't think like that, or that's wrong view. But it's just different moments of different dhammas arising and falling. And if there's no understanding of the wrong view when it arises, it can never be eradicated. So it has to be known when it appears, because it's the reality at this moment. I have a bit of a follow-up, Ajahn, on the, we often talk about Sutta Maya Panya, Chinta Maya Panya, Bhavana Maya Panya. In the Patisambhada Magga, I read about a different set, which Sutta Maya Jnana, they have here, exactly the same, and then Sila Maya Jnana, and then Samadhi Bhavana Maya Jnana. And for Sila Maya Jnana, it talks about the wisdom from restraint, samvara, by body, speech, and mind after listening to the Dhamma, Sutwana. So how, I think it's a bit like the Araka Gochara, the Sila Maya Jnana, the restraint from listening with understanding. And then the last one, Samadhi Bhavana Maya Panya, it refers to the panya from concentration, samadhane, after restraint, samvaritva, and this is knowledge based on concentration, samadhi, bhavana, maya, jnana. Do you have any more comments on these last ones, sila, maya, jnana, and samadhi, bhavana, maya, jnana?
Sure, we talk just about one word at a time to have clear understanding for each word.
Yeah.
Now, it's about sila maya.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. At moment of restraint from ill deeds without understanding, can it be jnana?
No, impossible.
But when it's panya and restraint, it's sila maya panya or sila maya jnana, depending on level of understanding. Right?
Right. So sila maya panya or sila maya jnana here, is that referring to vipassana jnana level of understanding?
Because even the restraint from ill deeds for different person, for the one who hasn't enlightened yet and the one who has enlightened must be different too. Different level of panya, which sees the danger of ill deeds at that moment. It's not strong and clear as vipassana jnana. So at that moment, it's only abstaining from ill deeds by conditions, but still the idea of I. But at moment when panya is enough, it's not you who restrain at that moment, and how much different levels of understanding of experience of the moment of experiencing, depending on conditions too. So that's why even words are different because of different level of panya.
So here, when it's referring to the sila maya jnana, it's including any level, any restraint, depending on the degree of understanding. Then, and so is this similar to Araka Gochara, the
because we have to talk to understand that what aspect we are talking about, because they are all realities depending on what aspect we talking.
Right.
When we
And also
talking about aramana,
yes,
Yeah, it's about Aramana.
Right. And here we're talking about the actual, the wisdom itself that's developing from the restraint, or the restraint based on the wisdom. I mean, when we read about Sila Maya Jnana, it is the wisdom that is based on the restraint through understanding. So it's different from talking about the object.
Oh, abstraining with jnana together there.
Jnana. So when it uses jnana here rather than panya, is it referring to panya of the level of vipassana jnana?
Or the development of vipassana jnana, which becomes clearer and clearer, little by little, too.
And it's important because often people have the wrong idea that there has to be restraint and certain ways of behavior first, and then panya can develop. But actually, it's through the development of panya that there is more and more restraint, more and more understanding of the danger of all kinds of ill deeds and all kinds of akusala.
Yes, that's why each word from the Buddha is so very, very subtle according to the subtlety of Dhamma.
And what about the last one, the Samadhi Bhavana Maya Jnana?
Because they cannot, a moment, there are many realities, not only sati, but also samadhi and panya together. They go together.
Yeah.
Not just sati at this level and panya at the level, or samadhi at the other level, the same moment, at the same level.
Is it referring to, because of using the word jnana, is it referring to how at this degree of understanding the samadhi and panya are yoked together?
Otherwise, one might think that one has to have samadhi first or sila first. And actually, at that moment, there must be panya. Otherwise, it cannot be what we say, jnana.
And so when it refers to panya based on the development of concentration, it's just showing how they have to condition each other, and samadhi is a proximate condition for panya and vice versa. How without the development of right of concentration, there cannot be any right understanding.
Because there should be the understanding of the difference between samatha bhavana level and vipassana bhavana. Because the development, the bhavana of samatha, just to be calm away from akusala, not developing understanding of the truth of what is now appearing. But in fact, the samadhi which arises with panya, which can understand the truth of that which now appearing, is much far away from the idea of self, which is very deeply rooted at that moment of samatha.
And because here they are referring to jnana, so it has to be, I think in these three cases, has to be the bhavana maya jnana referred to, has to be the development of vipassana only, not the development of samatha bhavana.
Yeah, but in the old days, people who had jhana, samatha at level of high jhana developed vipassana too. So those who do not study carefully mixed the two. But actually, what can be the object with jhana at level of vipassana with samatha must be different from only samatha or only vipassana.
that's a good point. All according to accumulations and what kind of kusala has been developed in the past. But
That's right. We have to study very carefully and respectfully, otherwise we'll go wrong with our own ignorance.
And in any case, whatever object it is, no matter seeing or visible object or jhana or any other object, it's still just a impermanent dharma that is dukkha and anatta. So,
and no selection for any object at all because it hasn't been conditioned to arise yet. So just understand that which is there when it appears only. And when it does not appear, we think about oneself as my leg, my arm, my head. But actually, how can that will eliminate the idea of self when there is such understanding or idea? That's why it's so very subtle to understand just only at moment when it appears. The arising and falling certainly can be directly understood when it appears only. And this understanding can condition moment to understand that which is now so close, not far away from this real moment of different realities. Only now that which is there. By conditions, see, little by little, getting closer and closer. Otherwise, that cannot be the subtle way of developing understanding as attaining enlightenment, to understand that, oh, this is the path from moment of intellectual and on and on and on, to be conditioned for such very moment of enlightenment. No other way at all. With patience, Satya Barami, Khanti Barami, Adidana Barami, Nekama Barami, just to let go. And it has to be so natural too, as natural as just ordinary life, this moment as it is. That's why no change with desire or attachment to results, wearing white or doing such and such.
Ajahn
That's all by conditions.
A moment ago, we spoke about the different Maya Panyas, and now you just spoke of the Paramis. So in that development through Suttamaya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, and Bhavanamaya Panya, are Paramis also developing along with that?
Is it at this moment? Patient?
Yes.
Without it, can there be more understanding? Can there be enlightenment? Can there be vipassana jnana?
Sorry, Ajahn, might have to start again. I lost my whole screen then.
Is it not
So
this matter of parami, listening, considering, understanding little by little, stage by stage? Is it not parami? With it, can there be more understanding or the moment of enlightenment?
well, there must be, you know, especially in that patience, kanti parami, just to continue listening, but
The moment of
also
understanding, is it not parami now?
yes,
Understanding now.
yes.
Anything which will condition more panya until enlightenment moment is parami. Right now, it is parami as well, at moment of understanding. So how can you find parami? Where and what is it? If it's not this moment, hearing, considering, is it not moment of letting go, little by little, let go the wrong understanding, let go the clinging.
Yes.
We don't have to find or to develop it. It's at moment of understanding, and all good deeds from understanding. At moment
you,
of giving, at moment of giving away things, no need to think whether it is parami or not. But is there no panya, or is panya there too? But even it does not arise at that moment, but it comes from understanding as the base or underlying. So no need to think about anything as the self. I would like to understand this, or what is there at that moment. And right understanding has to know that it's not me at moment of thinking such and such. That is a path leading to understanding that actually it's just a moment conditioned, arising and falling away. Dukkha, Ariya Satya. Lopa is there hidden, lurks in a moment. From moment to moment. 3 moments after seeing, hearing is there. And how short 3 moments are. Very, very short from moment to moment. So Lopa is there. By way of Ditthasva, Kamasva, Pabhasva, Avijjasva. Otherwise, it's useless. Just remember the word. But to understand how much ignorance is there. Otherwise, we might think that so little, not much, but actually so much. Beyond thinking or expectation at all, how much it is. Any moment of no understanding the truth, which is now, of each moment.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Just understand, that's all. Understand works its way.
I think this has been the very good side of COVID. With all the shutdowns, there's been so much Zoom. I think I have probably listened to more Dhamma and probably learnt more since COVID. So For me, there's one really good side of COVID.
And actually, everything is gone. Only that which appears so very short, unknown, that it also gone.
And when and again, when referring to bhavana maya panya, because there are two kinds of bhavana, samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana, as you were mentioning, but if it is the bhavana maya panya following from Sutta Maya Panya and Chinta Maya Panya as taught by the Buddha, it has to be the development of the understanding of realities as not self. Otherwise, no point in discussing it further. So can it include samatha bhavana, or it's only referring to the development of satipatthana here?
Is that a question for me?
No, for Jan.
And we can't hear
We
it
can't
now.
hear you, Ajahn.
Are you there, Ajahn?
Can you hear me, Ajahn? Are you back, Ajahn?
I cannot hear you.
Can you hear us? Can you hear now?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, I just repeat the question that I mentioned, the point I mentioned. When the Buddha talks about Sutta Maya Panya, Chinta Maya Panya, Bhavana Maya Panya, it has to be referring to the development of the path. So it has to be the understanding of dhammas as not self. And the Bhavana Maya Panya has to refer to satipatthana. Can it also include samatha bhavana as well, or only referring to the development of satipatthana as bhavana maya panya?
No matter who, no matter how calm, at what degree, there is still the idea of self. As long as no understanding of what is said as it is now. That's why Buddha thought about his teachers, the two teachers before his enlightenment, who had gained the high degree of arupajana, that it's so useless because even how long we will live in such plane, no understanding at all.
Right. So if it's not understanding of what appears now, it's no value at all. So whatever he taught about has to come back to the understanding of dhammas as not self, no matter the accumulation, or no matter, like you say, someone had developed high degrees of jhana before, or even during that life. Even so, each reality, each moment, what appears now has to be understood for what it is. And that's bhavana maya panya. Thank you.
So can we say that each moment of understanding is the development of panya, from nothing at all to something a little more, until it's fully developed?
Yes. Has to develop from understanding about what has been heard. And like you say, it doesn't mean just hearing and hearing, but it depends on the understanding when listening, and the wise considering, not by trying to consider or trying to understand, but just naturally reflecting wisely about what has been read or heard, and leading to the development of direct understanding more and more.
Very natural as now. No different at all. Otherwise, it's not panya.
And it's a good point that you mentioned about the parami, that at moments of patience now or kindness, or we don't have to think, is this parami, or how can there be more parami? If there's understanding, it is the development of parami already.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, very quiet out there. I just, Sarah, on you were talking about the development of samatha, and in the Buddha's time, like you mentioned, his teachers, and they were very highly. They had high degrees of the knowledge of those jhanic states, but he realized that wasn't the way to go. And there are also, I was just reading the suttas, I think it was Sabbiya, who had also been through these teachers and had learned the really high degrees of jhanic states, but had gone around all the teachers at the time and decided that, look, he must have had accumulations for panya. So he went to the Buddha, and just with the discussion with the Buddha, I think he became arahat. So there must be quite a few beings that do have developed high degrees of panya throughout the ages, and that maybe they're in, I mean, this is just speculation, in planes, hygienic states. I'm not quite sure where this is going, but just...
The point is, it's all totally useless if there's no understanding of realities, no matter of jhana or any other reality, as anatta and dukkha and impermanent, because
Yes.
otherwise, like just lifetimes in higher planes, but what for? Just to experience the bliss of jhana, but
and once that,
and then
karmic,
sooner or later back to lower planes.
exactly, yes. So even though it's high, it's highly developed gusala, it's not the gusala of
The path.
vipassana, yeah.
And that's why on its own it's referred to as the wrong path.
Wrong path, yes, yes.
But in the case of those former teachers of the Buddha whom he thought of, he must have thought that they had the sufficiently developed panya to understand the teaching, even though they had been reborn in a plane as a result of development of jhana.
And I think they were born in planes where, the Buddha could not talk to them because they were in arupa. I don't know. But yes.
No ear sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Suttamaya Panya.
No hearing consciousness possibly arise.
Yeah. Thank you.
A moment of understanding now of wrong view when trying to hang on to kusala is more precious than moments of jhana with no understanding of it as anatta. Leanne, Lucas, Tadao, anyone else have anything they would like to bring up?
Kun Jonathan, we cannot hear you. You were saying something?
I was just talking to Sarah, actually, so I was keeping very low voice.
He was just reminding me that Leanne is at work, and so she listens, but
at home, but
at
on
home,
duty.
On duty, so she cannot speak. Yes.
Thanks, Trent.
Hi,
Okay.
Leanne.
Hi, John and Sarah.
About you.
Yeah. You're right. Yep, I'm at work and I'm about to go out, take a group to a retreat. So so only listen and only listen partly. Maybe I will listen to the recording again.
What kind of retreat are you taking them on?
This is a carer retreat. So we're just going away for a couple of days. Hope the carers to relax. That's all. And I'll be the facilitator.
Okay. Good for you, Anumodana. Anyway, glad you can listen, Leanne. Ajahn, Leanne is in Sydney, I think you know.
Hello, Ajahn.
When you were sick in hospital, Ajahn, Leanne was the one who sent a donation with us. She wanted to help with your medical treatment in some way. So she's always very
I
kind.
appreciate very much. I didn't know that.
Anumodana, Ajahn.
How you did conditioned by understanding.
She really appreciates Leanne's the one in Sydney who appreciates listening a lot. Always wants to help make some donation or contribution. Yes, she was the one also who wanted to arrange to bring you to Sydney before to share Dharma with other friends, but then it wasn't possible because of your health.
Yeah. I don't have anything to ask because, like I said, I don't have much time. But there's just something popped in mind, and something that I've been wondering, and I still know it is a condition, all by accumulated tendency. For some reason, I feel more compassion toward the animals than toward human beings. Isn't that strange? So yesterday there was a Vesak celebration at Dhamma home in Yaguna. So I did go there and I did have a bit of dana, but for some reason I feel that strongly toward the animal that which is a little bird that I met on the way home. And when I walk my dog, actually, I went home and I walked my dog, and I saw a bird, which is still young, I would think. It can't even fly properly, and it was just like wandering, no food. And then I just felt so strong for it, and I went home and I determined to bring back food. I went back and I stayed there like good 15-20 minutes to look for the bird to feed it. And like today I want to go back again, but I haven't got the time for it, and I'm thinking of ordering more food for those birds and maybe just leave it there. But then I know it's not not something possible, and maybe other people may make a complaint because if you left food like it can be an issue too. So definitely that is just accumulation. but it's just strange. More, I don't feel much for people, but more for the animal, because I feel like they're helpless. Yeah. So just a comment.
Not uncommon. A lot of people have a similar tendency, I think. Question is, when you say compassion, of course, is it kusala necessarily?
There might be a moment of compassion, which is a kusala, but there may be some moment of a kusala too, because if I feel it's a kusala, it's not unpleasant, but there's a time I felt this unpleasant feeling, and I think the unpleasant feeling that is a dosa. So
and what about when it's pleasant and there's so much attachment to the little birds or the insects too? So many different moments. Yes.
Yeah, it's very true. I think that's it from me. I have to pack up and go.
Just conditions.
Yes. Ajahn, did you want to add any comments just before Leanne goes?
I think that it's just like this, full of thinking about this and that, which appears as nimitta. But as we have heard about the truth, can there be the considering about that as a reality? Even just thinking, even that which there is so very difficult. One can see that no matter how much we have heard about the truth, but not enough condition to understand that which is there as it is. For example, seeing now is very, very difficult, very, very hard to understand it as it, even just understand, because one is used to take it for I see and no understanding of that which experience, a reality which can experience. If there is no moment of thinking and considering about this, how can be any moment in the future to have such understanding? See, impossible. That's why hearing again and again and again and see the point of living with ignorance or with understanding. If, as before, life goes on with people and birds and house and everything as usual, it's there as nimitta. When there are realities arising and falling in. Otherwise, how can be bad? How can be a bird or a house or anything? See, learn to listen and see that it's better than no understanding of the truth of what we take for bird and things and food at all in life, this life, other life, any life, on and on and on. So begin to see that even it's so far away to directly experience the truth, but it has to begin or seeing the benefit, the value of it, that it's better than just living without any understanding of the truth, because life changes all the time. Sometimes so pleasant and sometimes it's not so bad feeling. And how can that be the understanding that it's only short and it's the way it is? No one can stop the arising of anything by its conditions at all. That's why beginning just to understand life little by little, not try so hard to directly experience the truth. It's impossible. But to begin to understand life as it is, not in anyone's control. Actually, there's nothing, because the story that she told us gone completely. Even the moment of talking about it is gone. And the other moment, even that which has passed is gone. Very previous moment gone. See, so nothing is there. It begins to see that no one can control anything, but there can be condition for doing good deeds, good speech, helping the other, and be kind and sila and on, because seeing that those are dangerous reality, ignorance is there, conditions such and such, beginning to understand the benefit, the truth of understanding the truth is better than not understanding it. And it doesn't hurt at all. Just listen and think about it until right understanding develop little by little to see the way it is as a self, very natural. Not try to force oneself so hard to do this and that in order to gain understanding. It's impossible because what is there is conditioned. Just understanding that little by little, even by the way as a concept like bird and house and food. But there can be a moment of understanding that actually what is there. You don't have to do anything. Just understand what is there. Better than not understanding what is there. And it is as something all the time as usual, because that's not the absolute truth of life or of anything. Just like learning any subject, but the subject is about to understand oneself. Because usually in a day, we think that we understand that person. We can criticize that person and this person, their acts, their deeds, their thought, and so on. What about that moment of thinking about them? For example, you see the bird, you'd like to give food. What about that which is there, not you? What is that? Beginning to understand the truth. The truth is there all the time, but it doesn't show up because of ignorance, no attention, no understanding, no seeing that is so benefit to just understand the truth. Nothing anyone can do because it's so true that actually there are different realities in any moment. Just learn to understand, and the understanding itself performs its function of letting go. No one knows, like now, no one knows about the function of lopa, of vitaka, of attachment, and so on. But at that very moment, what is there? Begin to appear to be object of study, to be known little by little. That is not that anymore. This moment is not past moment. Today is not yesterday, and tomorrow is not it's not today. That's all. That's life. Can there be more understanding of each which appear as it is? Not try to get rid of it, not try to have it more, but understanding it as it is, just the way it is, because it appears. But what is not known is it's arising and it's falling away, gone, never to return. Just develop understanding of this. Life is not permanent. Each moment is not permanent. It cannot be controlled. It has to be as it is right now, as it shows up, like as it is. Seeing, see. It shows up, but no understanding of it. So that is the idea of I and bird and house and everything. But begin to understand the absolute truth. That's all. And at that moment, it doesn't harm, it doesn't hurt at all. It just begin to see life as it is. Nobody can control the reality. It arises and falls away all the time. And then we call it birth and death, but actually it's just like that each moment. Just to understand, that's all. Nothing to do, but to understand the truth, little by little. So it's the normal life as usual, because everything is conditioned to arise, but no understanding it as it is, that which is conditioned to arise. Better than no understanding of the truth at all. And it works because it performs its function. Understanding is opposite of ignorance. It understands what is right, what is wrong, what is wholesome and what is not wholesome. And at the end, no one and no self at all.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Than Ajahn, for your words of wisdom. And yes, it's a very good reminder. And I think I need to hear more of this every day. So I'll continue to listen and to consider the Dharma.
And this is the way Panya develops.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Thanachan.
See you next time, Leanne.
Yeah, appreciate your interest, Leanne.
See you.
ท่านอาจารย์ครับ
Ah,
when we listen and when we also understand a little bit more, even there's a great appreciation for just hearing the words of the Buddha, even before Pariyatti, even before Sutta Maya Panya, even hearing the word, just at that moment, there can be understanding of reality without any effort to be anything else but what it is. Can you speak a little bit more about that? I know you spoke on it already, but can you speak a little bit more about the preciousness of the words and about understanding reality?
because you see that even just now, no understanding of what is there. Speaking, what is that? See, when there is still no understanding of that, how can there be the letting go? We talk about letting go, wrong view or ignorance, but at this very moment, what is that? Speaking, what is it? See, there can be more understanding because there is sound. How come that sound different from other sound? Because this sound is conditioned by citta, different from the wind and the water flows and so on. So citta condition the sound according to citta at that moment, to use the word, to think about it, and see, just moment of thinking, everything works out. The sound, the movement of the condition for sound, see, no intention at all, but the way it is. Even that can bring about understanding of life is this, only that which is conditioned, and it's gone. No one. That's why the understanding of nothing or not me at all should be implanted little by little to develop more and more understanding of no self. What we are hearing is now just to bring the understanding of no one, no self, seeing no one, no self. It just arises to see. At moment of sound of speech, there must be condition for its arising. Different words, different meaning, different sound, or even the sound with kusla or the sound of akusa, the same word. At moment of being angry, the sound is different. And when it's not the moment of anger at all, the sound is different. No one, and they are all gone. And this is life, not permanent. That's why Panya can understand any situation. There must be conditions for such and such. We think of COVID, but what is the truth? Sound, thinking about such and such. But what is that? Seeing is not COVID. See? On. Just learn about the truth of life to understand that if there is no enlightenment, if Buddha didn't enlighten, how can there be the words of truth for us to hear? See? And it's so true, each word, that it just talks about that which is now appearing to be understood, rather than just thinking about this and that, and then go on, only thinking. But this is not thinking. It's the understanding of the truth, which is there. So chanda is there to see, to be interested in, not let go, not just pass without understanding, but to understand it enough, little by little, because there cannot be great understanding, very sharp understanding at once. Even just each word is the word of considering the truth of what is the meaning of it. Just what about seeing. So now there is a little interest, not I, but it's there at moment of understanding it little by little, which is not easy, which is not very quickly. It depends on time too. How many moments of listening and thinking, comparing to those moments without thinking about it. So when will it be object of clear understanding of that which arises to see only? Just listen and consider the truth. And Panya is not me, no one there at all, but it's moment of understanding. And in a day, attachment doesn't let anyone have more moment of understanding than condition for its arising. All depends on conditions. That's why Panya sees conditions and develop conditions too. To be Pakatu Panisya Pajaya or habits, naturally.
I have a comment, Trin. It's good to hear from you, and thanks for your help as well. My comment is because you said that if there's not much understanding, if it's not even pariyatti understanding or not Suttamaya Panya, but there can still be appreciation of the words of the Buddha and appreciation of the preciousness of what is taught. But can there really be appreciation of his words if there's no understanding? Like if one just likes to listen or considers there may be some value, but not really any understanding of what is meant, then I'm not sure if this is really appreciation, because I think the appreciation of the words of the Buddha develops with understanding. The more understanding, the more true appreciation there is. What do you think?
I think yes, you're right, Kunsara. It needs to come with understanding, but for how I feel or how I see it is that when even there's so much little understanding, when there's even that much little understanding of knowing that we don't understand and we don't know, and there's so much ignorance of what's happening now, not understanding the conditions, not understanding anything, there's more appreciation of just hearing the words, and there's no need to be, and there's no need to do anything at all. It's just about understanding and hearing the words and trying to understand the words for what they are, because there's no us to do anything.
I think that is already some understanding, at least pariyatti understanding, when it is the appreciation that no one can do anything, that there are just realities not in anyone's control. It shows it is the beginning of understanding, and therefore the beginning of really appreciating what is taught by the Buddha. It's like when people talk about taking refuge in the Buddha and the Dhamma and the Sangha. Without any understanding, it can't be any refuge. But when there is some wise considering based on the understanding of what's heard, that about what the Buddha has taught about life at this moment, then there is the beginning of taking refuge in his virtues and in the Dhamma that has been taught.
I understood what Trin was saying to be talking about when one hears the Dhamma explained, there can be an appreciation of what is being heard, but without any necessarily being any identifiable understanding of a reality at the present moment. So that kind of appreciation indicates that, to my understanding there, that some understanding has previously been developed, and that's why one has an interest in what is being said and is able to follow it, because someone with no developed understanding would not be able to even follow the meaning of what was being said.
So I think the understanding is accumulating even when it's not apparent, because
Yeah.
even to appreciate that it's about realities at this moment and they're not in anyone's control shows
It
that
requires a level of
it requires a level of understanding, of pariyatti understanding, quite different from what people usually think of as pariyatti understanding, of just knowing this and that detail and this and that Pali term and so on. But the understanding you're referring to is the understanding of the beginning of understanding of the truth at this moment. And that's why there is the appreciation of the words of the Buddha.
And I think, John, what you were talking about just now is actually happening now when we listen and with interest. And it's not like there's often the moment of right understanding, but there is appreciation, enough understanding to condition interest in hearing on and considering what's heard.
And John is talking about, say, in general terms, about what understanding is and how realities are conditioned and so forth. And because of accumulated understanding, one appreciates hearing that, even though there may not be any awareness or an understanding of a particular reality arising at the present moment, but it's music to one's ears in a sense, because one just appreciates the value of those kind of reminders.
Yes, Kun Jonathan and Kun Sukin, it's an appreciation. There's no thinking about what we actually understands, but
Right.
there's just appreciation that the words being spoken and the words that are being listened to is true. Those are true words.
And
they're meaningful.
And that's the pariyatti understanding, because if one's thinking, oh, is there any understanding for me? Then that's just clinging and attachment. It's not actual understanding. But when there is the understanding of the value and the truth of what is being heard, then that is the understanding right now, beginning of understanding of what appears, because one appreciates it is true that seeing sees now, that it's just visible object that's seen, and this is life at this moment.
And I think it's the same when one reflects in the day, unconsciously or subconsciously, as we say, about the Dhamma. It's in general terms. It's not necessarily about what reality is appearing at the present moment. There's just reflection on the general teaching of the nature of conditions or life, or the sort of thing that we actually listen to during the discussions. And that is the kind of reflection that can condition moments of awareness and actual awareness and understanding to arise. Nothing to do with thinking how can I have more understanding or anything like that. It just is one's natural train of thinking and reflection.
And that's the Chintamaya Panya, Azita, the wise reflection that can happen anytime during the day, whilst having a problem with this or that, or fixing a water leak, or eating one's lunch. Anytime is the wise reflection about what has been heard and read and considered again and again.
Thank you. Yes, and also, John, you mentioned that it may not be a specific thing, but there is some reflection on the Dhamma.
Yes, yes.
That's a good example. Thank you.
And suddenly there can be an appreciation of how that general reflection has relevance to the present moment, for example. It's not just thinking about the theory of the teaching at all. Yeah, it's more relevant, directly relevant than that.
To this moment, to life now.
it softens the moment, so to speak. You know, maybe stuck in traffic and going, "Rrr," and there might be some vague thinking of Dhamma, and suddenly it's like, oh well, traffic. It to me, it just softens the moment temporarily.
Brings it back to the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to ask Anne. Anne, I got your note. Anne's been having a lot of technical problems. Are you there now, Anne? Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
you're there. Yes,
Yeah,
I got
just a minute.
to say that you were having some trouble with the connection.
I was. I've got it back now. I missed about 40 minutes.
Oh,
I am back.
I wondered where
Bad luck,
you've
I
gone. I
know.
noticed you've gone, but
It's like the traffic jam. Anything can happen. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's a new internet provider and service isn't complete.
Anything you want to bring up today? Anne?
I was thinking back to last week's discussion about pasada rupas. And as the pasada rupas being, there being 5 and there being the inner rupas. And when, let's take the example we've been using, when there's an impingement on Gaya pasada and Jitta arises, that's obviously a moment of consciousness. At that moment, the other pasada rupas, I guess this is what I'm asking or trying to confirm, is the other pasada rupas can be arising and falling away at the same time, but until an object, a tangible object impinges on it, and the gamma, the consciousness, bodily consciousness arises because of gamma and other conditions. It is that this is the, I'm getting lost in what I'm saying here. Unless when a pasada rupa is being impinged upon and the corresponding consciousness arises by, by vipaka, the other pasada rupas, are they at that point considered inner rupas if they're not being impinged on at any given time?
we were talking in the context of the ayatanas, right?
Not so much. We're talking about pasada rupas.
Yes, but I thought when you say inner, what reference are you referring to?
Inner rupas,
as in what?
Well, I may have misunderstood or forgotten, but we spoke of near and far rupas, and as I recall, it's the pasada rupas and the 7 objects, the visible object, hearing, sound, etc., that are the near rupas. But I think we were also talking about pasada rupas as being inner rupas.
I'll just say what I recall, and it may or may not help, but I thought we were talking about the ayatanas, and there are inner and outer ayatanas. And so
we spoke of those as well.
Only the pasada rupa that is a condition for consciousness to arise is an ayatana at that.
Yes.
The other pasada rupas would not be, because they are not part of what is meeting together.
Right. Well, excuse me, yes, that's maybe where I got mixing things up a bit, because I realized at the time, the ayatanas, if that would be the pasada rupa and the tangible object and the consciousness meeting and other factors as well. Okay, so that, and at that point, the other pasada rupas would not be, no, they would not be ayatana at that point. Right,
So-
okay, well, perhaps I,
The other, like you said at the beginning, all pasada rupas, all the different pasada rupas conditioned by karma arising and falling away all the time. The
yes,
karma conditions them at each moment of chitta, the beginning
Right.
and the middle and the end. So they're rising and falling away all the
Mhm.
time, but they are irrelevant, so to speak, as far as the
yes,
understanding is concerned, unless
as
it's
far as the present moment is concerned, yes, understanding the moment.
when referring to the I sense as the inner reality at this moment. It's referring to the I sense only at the moment when there is seeing of the visible object, the
Yes,
external
yes,
reality at this very moment.
okay, well, I think,
Yes, but
I
we
must
did
have-
talk about different definitions of subtle and gross and near and far rupas, and conventionally what is inner and what is outer. So we did talk about different definitions.
okay, so I guess I understand what you're saying, and thank you. I think I confused. I missed the point that the inner and outer. Well, I knew there were inner and outer ayatana, but I somehow picked up that there were the pasada rupas were. I guess they're inner ayatana. Yes.
Inner ayatana at
Yeah.
the moment of experience.
At
Yes,
the moment of experiencing, and if they're not experiencing,
yes.
they're not in the
The
equation.
other
Right.
rupas that are rising and falling away, like the rupas at the back of one's body that are not
Yes.
seen, but they're rising and falling away.
Right. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Be thinking about them. Let's see if Ajahn would like to add more.
Is there pasada rupa now?
Yes.
Does it appear?
I'm sorry. Does it appear? No. No.
See, but it's there because at moment of
Yes.
experiencing that which is seen or heard, it means that there must be the special
Yes.
rupa which can condition the seeing. Otherwise, seeing cannot arise. So it's not just understanding about everything as Buddha, but Buddha told us from his enlightenment that the karma condition the prasada rupa and the kammaja rupa to arise each moment. And one moment is the beginning and the sustaining and the falling away. Karma condition rupa to arise on each of it in a moment. See, unknown until the experiencing of something now, like seeing there. So seeing cannot be at the back or at the finger, but it's there at the middle of the eyes, as we have learned. So to know that it's there at moment of seeing arises. Otherwise, how can it appear or be known at all? That's why no doubt about each different pasada rupa, that it has to be there, arising and falling away. That which has fallen away cannot return, and that which is there as condition arises and then gone too. That's all. Just talk about a moment or what are there in a moment that are so. That's all. So I think that now no doubt about pasada rupa and seeing right now.
No, it seems clear what we've been talking about. Yes.
So
Yeah.
no I. At moment of seeing, is there you or anything else?
No.
Not at all. Then that is the world. Think about the world. Nothing but only that which appears. See, is it that
Yes.
truth? Okay. And this is a truth that is not known now, but it can be known as Panya develops, because only
Yes.
Panya can be the reality which experience the truth. That's all. That's why when Panya is at this level, it's impossible to have clear understanding of only reality at a time, because it needs the development of Panya to let go. The clinging to the next one, which succeed the previous one instantly. And can anyone try to experience the Pasata Rupa? See?
No.
If anyone would like so much, it is Lopa, not person at all. And ignorance. So what can be known is what is there appearing in a day only. Vitaka, does it appear the object? But seeing now sees. So the characteristic of the reality which sees can be object of studying and understanding little by little.
Yes.
Only that. That's why they are together. How many rupa which can be known in a day? The 7 rupas, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, 4 and 3 tangible objects, 7. Yes. And at that moment, there can be the understanding, but not directly experience it. The eyes base, ear base, the rupa, pasata rupa. See, only that, which is the gross object, because it appears. But there are so many other things like Hataya Rupa and Chivitindriya and so on. Now unknown, and it cannot be known because it does not appear. So only studying, beginning to attend to the characteristic which is now appearing as it is, experiencing. It's only a moment of seeing, only a moment of experiencing that which is seen, that's all. It can lead to a little more understanding of that which is not self. So I think that this is not just only one point, you have other points too for thinking, considering. Like what? Like the question, see?
Mm-hmm.
But actually it's only thinking.
Yes.
If they're hearing about this, can they be thinking about this Pasata Rupa? Impossible.
Yes. I'm sorry, impossible to
think about Pasata Rupa when there's no hearing about Pasata Rupa at all.
If you've never heard about it, no, you can't think about it.
When there's no hearing about it at all.
You wouldn't think about it if there's no hearing about it.
Can anyone touch Pasata Rupa?
No.
That's it. See, that's ordinary life.
I think, Ajahn, that Anne may have been referring, because she was referring to the 5 inner rupas that were discussed last time. So I think there was some mention of not ayatanas, but ajatika, the 5 sense bases as the ajataka dhammas, as opposed to bahira, inner and outer. So perhaps this is what the reference was. Would you say a little more about this?
So it's a point of Pasata Rupa, whether it's inner Rupa, right?
Yes.
Okay, because you see that there are many Rupas and there must be space in between each Kalapa. See? So when it's not object of experiencing, of the experience at all, how can there be the direct understanding of it? But what about seeing now and the object now? It's there appearing, but no understanding of it as it is. That is only that which arises, otherwise it's not there. And it arises to experience an object. And when it's that which can impinge on the eye base, it cannot experience other thing at all. That which arises, experience object, is what we say, seeing. Only that, only that, only that, and then gone. all of them, no matter the citta or cetasika which arise together and the object not more. See, different from moment of hearing. That's why, what are there in between? Sampatichana, santirana, it does not appear as object like sound or smell at all. That's why Panya can understand that which appears as nimitta as well, because it arises and falls away so very, very fast. So how can there be the understanding of that which arises and fall away and end up and Owanga in between and then other doorway again and again? See, that's why what are there are many, many moments that it's not known. But that can be the object of understanding, to understand, begin to understand the reality which arises to experience. That is seeing now, hearing now, and then no more. And this is the world. So the true world, the actual world is nothing. Only that which arises is the world and then gone. Empty, sunyata, all time. Otherwise, there must be clinging to that which appear together as something all the time and think that it's something and I. Even we don't know what it is, the idea of thing is that what is it? It's a thing already, not understanding the truth. That's why each word is the word for considering the truth wisely. Whether is it true that seeing does not last and seeing arises, and when it's not there, it's gone away. But in truth, it is shorter than that. Even now, the seeing arises and falls away unknown. What appears is just seeing. But many, many moments of seeing, many moments of the gap between each doorway, see, the bhavanga in between, unknown. And this is the world that can be known only by the development of understanding to the degree of becoming Sammasabuddho, Paccekabuddho, or Savakabuddho. See, or apanya, not ignorance. That's why panya arises among ignorance and attachment all the time. So it takes quite a long, long time to develop the understanding of the truth until it shows up, appear as it is, as nothing in it, only that which impinges on it, see, and then falls away. It can eliminate the idea of self little and little until it's a moment of enlightenment of truth before noble truth.
Okay, thank you.
So just to understand the truth, little by little, and panya, right understanding, works itself. More interest, more time, more thought about it, and depend on understanding at the moment of what is there, seeing people, understanding that actually what is said. And even right now, no people, but there are many things. In truth, citta arises and falls away in split seconds. And what appears is the succession of that as nimitta, only that. And the idea of something all the time in life. No matter what we are talking about right now, there must be citta, which think about the word, vitakka, vichara, and other cetasikas are there arising. And it conditions the sound, the movement of the rupa, which condition the sound by conditions. No understanding because it happens so very, very fast, like seeing. Now, who knows? The arising and falling of seeing. And this is life.
And so if we're talking about
understand the impermanence of reality, which is now as no control, no one, it cannot be to anyone, no me. Yes, Kun Sarah.
I was just going to say, so if we're talking about ayatanas, only the pasada rupa, that is the base of the seeing at this moment, for example, is the inner ayatana, and no question about that. But if we're talking about other definitions like the Ajatika and the Bahira Rupas. Any of the Pasada Rupas are the 5 Pasada Rupas are classified in this way as the Ajatika or inner Rupas, as opposed to the outer ones, those that are
Yes.
innermost or taken
Right.
or being inside the body or thought about as
Right.
inside the body, as opposed
So
to
that's just a classification. But
exactly.
unless there is the ayatana, the coming together
Then
of the object,
completely
the
unknown.
base, etc.
Yes, but
It- it-
that
that-
what you were mixing
I
up.
think so. That's and that becomes the inner ayatana in that situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That helps. Thank you.
Kun Anne, at moment of seeing, is there any rupa?
I'm sorry, at moment of seeing, is there
Any other rupa?
Not there's visible object and there is the Jaku Pasada and
See?
the
Only
seeing
that.
consciousness, and that's all that can be known. But yes, there are other rupas of rising and falling away.
And
But
the truth, for example, just talking about seeing, only seeing, there is nothing besides this, right?
yes,
The rupa, which is seen, and the pasata rupa, when we talk about just the rupa. But
yes,
you see that why it is the inner, because without it, can there be seeing?
no,
What are so many rupas in the body, the hardness and many rupa, see? But what is there to condition seeing? Just talk about a moment. So that
yes,
moment is the inside, while the other is outer, not there.
yes,
Not so it's outer. So at that very moment, what is in Achatika is the rupa, the Chakupasata rupa. So
yes,
only 5 among all rupas are the inner, only 5.
yes,
Because it's there. When there is seeing, the other rupa is not there, away from that.
yes.
Moment. That's why that is the meaning of inside. Achatika.
Thank you.
While
So at
the
a moment
other
of seeing, then the
outside.
other Pasada rupas are not there.
No matter what, not there at that moment. But at
Yes.
the moment of hearing, no other rupa. See?
Right.
So when we classify the rupas, we classify by the characteristic of 5 sense door are the inner, right?
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
only there at moment of seeing or hearing or smelling or tasting, touching.
Yes.
While the others are not there, away from that moment. So it's outside that moment.
Okay. To be inside the moment, it would be only one Pasada rupa at a time, but the others, they are there, but there is no consciousness associated with them because there's nothing impinging on them.
So not inside, not
They're not inside at the moment, right?
We classify all of them. So all 5, they are
Yes.
inner, achatika.
Yes. So
Those
basically,
words of Sarah's just then, not inside, was clicked a light bulb for me, but she's not there. Thank you, Sarah.
I am here. That's our funny screen.
Oh,
if there's
okay.
no seeing now, how can the eye sense be inside now? Yes.
right.
That really clicked for me because
Yes.
last week, differentiating the outside from the inside. And like I said, the boundaries broke down of my body and outside. So when you just said not inside, that also clarified something. Thank you. Good reminder.
And thank you, Ajahn Sawatika. And,
สวัสดีค่ะท่านอาจารย์
Oh my
and
goodness.
Lucas is sending many
ขอบคุณ
notes
มาก
of appreciation. So glad you could listen.